Ladies, I have a bone to pick with us. And firstly, if you all of a sudden hear Trip screaming in the background of joy, embrace it. That's life now. And his nursery is right next to our podcast studio in my house. Probably wasn't the best planning in hindsight, but here we are and we're rolling with it. And a happy baby is a happy mummy. Today, we are talking about burnout. We are talking about the complexities of a woman that is in her hypermasculine, that is hyper successful, and what characteristics she or you may be embodying that's actually cock blocking you to letting your man lead. This episode is probably going to trigger you. So if you're not open to being triggered right now, then you need to exit this episode. Remember, your triggers are your doorways to growth. If you get triggered and then you blame the person that triggered you as though it's somehow their fault, it is further just showing that you need to go into that trigger and work on it. I brought this up in a recent episode and I have never had so many people be like, holy shit, I have not felt this called out on a podcast in my whole life. Do you only rest when you're sick? I was actually on a call with my media coach the other day because we are in full steam ahead of doing all the behind the scenes of launching my speaking career, which I'm very excited about. And we were working on my keynotes. And I asked her this, because I was saying that I want to talk about this and put this in one of my keynotes. And can I ask the audience this? And when I said it, she was like, oh my God, because I had called her out. And I say this because this used to be me. It used to be me that I would only let myself rest when I was sick. And I don't mean rest like stay in bed all day. I mean rest like watch a TV episode in the middle of the day or decide to not work at nighttime and watch some Emily in Paris. Also, I'm so excited for season 5. So do you only rest when you're sick? Because I've talked about burnout before. And what I want to talk about today is more so the complexities of a lot of us that are listening, which are the hyper independent, hyper successful, and how that's not just affecting your joy, but it's also affecting your relationship. You say that you want him to lead. You say that you want him to be making the decisions and to help you just turn your brain off. But the reality is that you still don't actually want to turn your brain off. You have associated hyper success or the amount of accolades that you can get and how much you can get in terms of your career and how exhausted you are. You've associated that success with your worth as a woman. So then to let go, to soften, it can feel like in your body, even though this isn't actually the truth, it can feel like you are letting go of success, that you are not as much of a powerful woman. And that is not the case at all, because I've talked about this before, and you can jump to the episode if you need to. The woman that can actually surrender and actually receive, she is the most empowered woman. Hence the term I've coined, empoweredly submissive. The other thing that I want you to reflect on is, do you only invest in yourself? When I say invest in yourself, I mean in money, I mean in time, I mean not just in the program, but even investing the time to go to the sauna, in your health. Do you only invest in yourself when things are really shit? When you're feeling good, when you're feeling healthy, you stop taking the supplements because it's oh, I'm fine. I don't need to waste time doing that, as though it's a waste of time. You don't go to the gym as much. You don't invest your time in doing the self-care because you feel good. And then when things start to feel shit, that's when you're oh my God, I have to carve out time for myself. I need to go do this. I need to go to work out, blah, blah, blah. It is also a form of self-sabotage. The reason is that when your nervous system is so used to being in overdrive, being depleted, being exhausted, living in fight or flight or a freeze response or disassociated, that when you start to move away from that sensation in your body, your nervous system is going to be nope, it does not feel safe, and brings you back to what your body feels as safe, aka burnt out, aka hypermasculine, even if you do not want to be. And so it's this whole process of being aware of just the fact that you're doing this and then actually continuing to go and do the thing that your body does not want you to do, that your nervous system doesn't want you to do because it thinks it's unsafe to rest because you're so used to not resting. And because you've probably associated rest with some kind of like failure or weakness complex. I know for me, growing up, I always felt like, and it was kind of conditioned into me, of like watching TV in the middle of the day, like you're lazy, go and do something productive, right? There's so many other things that you could be doing. There's so many better ways to spend your time. So this was a really big thing, which is why I bring it up to you, a really big thing that I had to work through of not feeling lazy or like I'm wasting my time if I'm consciously, keyword consciously, choosing to watch some TV in the middle of the day, for example. It's different if you are using it to numb out or distract or disassociate. We're not talking about that, right? But you may also be doing that because you are so overloaded with a mental load, with like you're so exhausted, you have so many tabs open in your brain, you're so overwhelmed that you don't know how to regulate or to get out of that state of overwhelm, that the only thing that you can do to bring some kind of peace to your body, quote unquote peace, is to also numb out, disassociate. Hence people doom scroll for hours before they go to bed, or in the middle of the day where they should be working, they doom scroll. So let's talk about mental load. And this does not just go for the hyper successful woman or the super high achieving, hyper masculine woman. This also goes for the woman that is a full-time mom, for example, that maybe isn't in her hyper masculine. She doesn't think she is, but she actually kind of is. Or the woman that isn't chasing after all of these like career goals, but there's still a huge mental load. So the mental load piece is for all of us women, okay? And the reason why a lot of women are struggling with such a huge mental load these days is because, there's many things, but one of them is they don't ask for help. They're not asking for support. They are not letting themselves have less of a mental load. And there can be many reasons for this, right? They feel like they are a more accomplished woman, or that they're crushing it more, or they're doing more if they're holding more. They could feel like, if I ask for help, I'm weaker, or asking for help is some sign of weakness. They straight up could not know how to ask for help. Their body feels unsafe when they ask for help, or like they're failing. And then a really big one for a lot of women is they don't trust the man in their life. Even if consciously you're like, I do trust him, then give him things to do. Take things off your mental load. Close some of those tabs because he wants to help. Funny that, but literally a man is wired to want to solve problems, to fix things. We all want him to just listen to us, right? But they're trying to fix the problem. Well, give him some things to fix. Give him some of those tabs in your brain. I will give the most random things to Hal because he always is just like, give me things, give me things, give me things, because he wants things taken off my mind and not work related. Like I text him, we need more nappies, diapers, whatever you want to call them, or we need more wipes, or, like I text him, for example, last night I texted him that our nanny's leaving at this time. My Queen Alchemy call goes until this time. He already knew this, but it was a reminder, like everything's in the calendar. This is a reminder of what I need you to do. And he's like, got it. Great. Off my mind, right? He'll remind me sometimes. He's like, okay, give me something, and I'll give it. And he's like, great, close the tab. It's off your mind, moving on. Why are you not allowing yourself to give some things to your man, or if you're single, to ask for support? And that might mean you have to pay for it, because unfortunately, and it really fucking is unfortunate, but it's just the reality. So like accept the reality and accept responsibility for the life that you want to have, or complain, but like this isn't a place for complaining. We don't have a village, a lot of us. We don't have the neighbor or the best friend or our mum living around the corner where we can ask for help and get that support. We don't have that village. So we need to pay for the village. And that might just mean paying $150 a week for a housekeeper. And she comes 4 hours to your house and she does some laundry, she tidies up, she puts things away, the pile of crap in the corner of your office, she's going to fully organize for you. Or you maybe get a cleaner, or maybe you have both. Or maybe it is that you have a nanny or a babysitter that comes a few times a week. Think about it like this. You have to pay in today's world, most of the time, for the majority of us, you have to pay to then get those 4 hours, for example, where you're not doing laundry and tidying up because the housekeeper is. What can you now do in those 4 hours that are more beneficial for you to become the woman that you want to? whether it's you're able to create content for your business, whether it means that you're able to rest. And when you rest, you then are a better mom or a better partner, or you're able to then have more creative ideas. Like rest is very productive, especially as a business owner. For any business owners that really think resting is not productive, it's very productive. I get my best ideas when I have white space, because when there is physical space and energetic space, and then therefore mental space, there is space for the creative idea to actually drop in. So you may need to pay for support. What are you making that mean? What are you making it mean by asking for help? Because the reality is, if you're waiting to get sick to ask for help, that is something that you need to work on, because what you are doing is you are like cock blocking yourself and putting a limit on yourself of where you can go in your life. Because it's like, in order for you to expand, you first have to get sick in order to give yourself permission to do something or to do something differently. No, you have to wait until your relationship is crumbling to then be like, okay, I'm now giving myself permission, or we as a couple are now giving ourselves permission to invest in our relationship to make it better. When you think about it, like, that doesn't actually make any sense, does it? When things are good, make them better. When your health is good, make it better because you have the energy to do so. When business is good, make it better. When your relationship is good, make it better. It's funny how a lot of us are like, I'm not settling in dating, but what do we do in our personal lives? We settle. What do we do in our career? We settle. What do we do with our health? We fucking settle. Why are you settling in all these other areas and then putting on this like misempowered woman when it comes to your dating life, and no man is apparently good enough for you because you have a list of things that nobody can actually achieve? That's an episode for another time. Although I think I actually have talked about that in some of the dating episodes. So if you haven't listened to the dating episodes, you definitely want to go do that. Okay, mental load. Do you have systems in your life? Because if you're addicted to chaos, you won't give yourself permission to have systems. It won't feel safe or normal to have like flow and ease and like a tidy house. That does not feel normal to your nervous system if you've always been in chaos, because chaos is what feels normal and safe. So, for example, I am giving so for her year next year, which is just going to be like, oh my God, 2025 was just a teaser. I know I keep saying that, but I'm like, it really was just a teaser. Next year for her year, there is a motherhood upgrade that you can add on to your like normal her year kind of container for the year. And there's also a feminine CEO add-on. In the motherhood add-on, we're doing a whole call on home systems, and I'm sharing with you guys my home systems. So many of you DM'd me when I shared like just the front page of the onboarding document that I gave to our nanny. They were like so many people were like, I fucking need this. So I'm giving you not just that, but everything else that I use in my house in terms of kind of like systems, especially with now becoming a mom. It's like these systems it just frees up my mind. I'm not having to remember what day to do what. I'm not having to remember random little things. Like when, my mom looked after Trip for a night and Hal and I had a night to ourselves while she was here, I was able to send her links of everything that she needed to know. I didn't have to like write everything down or explain it to her and that kind of stuff. So home systems are a really big one. In order for you to be in your feminine, you have to have masculine structure. Ladies, if you are not already on the Her Year waitlist for 2026, like you just don't want to miss out on this. I feel like Her Year 2025 was truly a teaser. And I say that with like kind of a smirk because this program was better than I even planned for it to be. And everybody in this program, everybody's expectations was just wildly exceeded, including myself. Very proud to say the plan that we have for next year will blow your mind. So now that I know what I'm doing next year for this program in 2026, I'm like, oh, 2025 was like the beginning. It was the teaser. So if you're the kind of woman who's ready to stop talking about her next level and actually fully live it and embody it, her year is where that happens. And of course, if you're not sure it's for you, read the website page. A few really key things is it is a 12-month mastermind like style program where we're really centered around the conversation of what it looks like to fully embody feminine leadership. And it's not just for business owners, it's for women who are leading in any area of life. Maybe you have a career, maybe you don't, but you find that you are leading, whether it's in love, whether it's in the family, whether it's in motherhood, health, your career, and you want to do it in a feminine way. You want to reduce that mental load. You don't want to be burnt out anymore. And you just want to get to the next level of everything in life. And if you look at the 12-month plan, you will see that every month we talk about a different thing and I give you guys a different masterclass. It is an action-based program. If you do not want to take action, if you do not want to be told what to do and then all you have to do is do it, then this is not the program for you. Okay. The waitlist is where you will get early access. You will get bonuses. You'll get first dibs when the doors open. You do not want to not be on this waitlist, especially if you've been feeling the pull. Just trust it. Join her year next year. Plan to do it. Add yourself to the waitlist and let's make 2026 the year that you actually become her. Being in your feminine does not happen by there being no structure, because what does that create? Chaos. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, actually, at the time I was recording, I was on a call with my stylist and it was our last call of our package because we were working together, if you don't know, when I was pregnant for my book launch, because I did not know how to dress myself being so pregnant and that huge. And I wanted to feel confident and good. So like, here's a perfect example of not waiting until I'm hitting rock bottom. Like, yeah, I could have dressed myself. I could have figured it out, but I didn't want to, number one. And I knew that if I had an expert, it would be better. It would be easier. I would take that off my mental load, because I'm telling you, and I know the women that have been pregnant out here, I know the mums will get it. Being pregnant and not knowing how to dress yourself, if you're someone that doesn't want to wear like leggings all day and you can't, like you want to wear like nice clothes, it actually was really stressing me out. I know it's a first world problem. It was stressing me out. It was making me really miserable, frankly. And it was really adding to my mental load at that time of not knowing how to dress myself pregnant. So I hired her, because why am I going to wait until I'm looking at a picture of myself during my book launch and then being like, damn, I really regret not hiring the stylist? Why do you have to wait to learn that lesson? Why can you not trust? And I'm asking you this. This is all like for you to reflect on. Why can you not trust your gut, the niggle, when you're wanting something, and future thinking? So like closing your eyes and visualizing your future self. Would she benefit from having the stylist, for example? Like, what's the vision of her launching her book? This is what I did, of her launching her book and having paid X amount of thousands of dollars to look like, not from the clothes, from the stylist, and then buy the clothes too, to look and feel amazing. Okay, now let's visualize launching my book that took me 6 years to fucking write. Like, wow, it was a headache. Launching my book, finally, launching it 8 months pregnant, or 7 months. I was 8 months, 8 months pregnant. So like I was huge. Let's just be real. And not feeling good and not looking good and looking at pictures and actually regretting not hiring the stylist. We all know the decision I'm going to make, right? And I would hope that if you did the same, you would then actually act on the decision that you know is better for your higher self and that you're going to be happier with. Okay. So I was on a call with my stylist and we got on. And she was like, I'm sorry, Monica, I'm so overwhelmed. I have to be honest. Like my brain is everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And she was just kind of like sharing what was going on. And I was like, do you have like systems? Do you have an assistant? No. I was like, do you plan your content so you like know what you're posting the next day and you don't have to think about it? No. When you onboard a client, does like the contract get automatically sent? No. Like all of these back-end systems that I have in my business that are, not even like, it's not even like you need to be running $1 million business. No. And she was telling me what's happening as a result. She's put on weight. Her relationship with her boyfriend is suffering. It's funny. She was like, well, I'm old, so I shouldn't call it boyfriend. And she's not old. I'm like, I think she's mid-40s. She looks fucking fabulous. And so her partner, we'll just say for her relationship with her partner is going down the drain. She doesn't want to see him. She's so busy. She's so overwhelmed. Like I said, she's put on weight. She's not feeling fabulous. And she's got all of this work coming in, which is amazing, but it's all stressing her out. And you know what she said to me? She said, I nearly quit. Like, and this was between our last call. So like basically our last call was like right before my book launch. So it was between our last call. So I was pregnant and then now. So it's been like what, 5 months? And in that time, she nearly quit because she was so overwhelmed and still is in her business. And I just said, I was like, you need to hire me. I was like, I'm going to get the team on board. We are going to help you with this because this is not okay. I was like, you are so talented. And this is a perfect example, ladies, of like, you can want something so badly, your dream, your relationship, like your dream business, your dream relationship, your dream body, and then you sabotage it because you actually don't have the systems or the support or the structure to continue to have that dream grow. Because at the end of the day, whether it's your health, your business, your career, your relationship, your children, they're all taking your energy. They are. And so if you're not doing things to support you to be able to hold all of those different areas of life, they're going to crumble. You're going to say, I can't do this relationship. I don't have time for this relationship. You're going to say, like, I can't keep doing this health protocol. It's too much. You're going to stop working out. You're going to then put on the weight. And then the cascade effect. We all have been there, have we not? I have. The cascade effect is a motherfucker. So hand things off to somebody else. Ask for help. Never in the history of womanhood have women done life, all facets of life alone. We've always had a sisterhood, and now we don't. And that's why in a previous episode that I did about, quantum leaping before the end of the year, I talked so heavily about community and sisterhood. I did that episode recently on friendships. Because one thing that the biggest lesson that I have learned this year for business and also personally is I need to invest more in terms of time and money into my communities, into my network for business and my support for business, and then my personal relationships with my friends. Because without that, I am nothing. Without that, I can't keep doing my life. I can't keep growing. I can't keep crushing it in all facets. When I say you need to invest in your village, I fucking mean it. So if you are serious about making next year amazing, feeling better about yourself, no longer wearing burnout as a badge of honor, then you need to invest, money. You need to invest money and you need to invest your time into being around women that lift you up, not being around women that complain and that are victims. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Being around women that expand you, grow you, lift you up, and support you in a way that maybe you're not supporting yourself. So I am really excited for those of you that are continuing with Her Year from this year into next year. You're rejoining. I am so excited for you if you are joining Her Year next year for 2026, because the community aspect of this program is honestly what makes the program. It truly is. The in-person community events that we have twice a year, and we have extra events also. We have a black tie event that I've added in. We have some fun things. When you look at the website page, you'll see it all. Get on the wait list if you're not already on there. And once we launch, you'll be able to see the whole programming, okay, of like what to look forward to next year. The last thing that I want to talk about in this episode, and this is more to the hyper successful, hyper independent, achieving woman. Don't stop achieving. Don't stop going after your dreams. I'm not going to tell you to work less hours in a day if you don't want to, because I love my job. Now, I am in a season of life where we are working on getting me to be working 4 hours a day so that I can be spending time with Trip, because I really just want to cherish this first year of his life. But I love to work. Oh my God, if I could work 18-hour days every day, I would. That's been the hardest thing, I will say, about motherhood for me, is not working so much. And I've really practiced self-control of like at nighttime, I don't work because it's going to wind me up and get me going in a good way. And then I'm not going to go to sleep early. Like I've really practiced discipline with this because of how much I love my job. But that's honestly been the hardest part, is not being able to choosing like consciously to not work so much, because I could work more if I wanted to, but I don't want to. Like I want to, but I want to spend time with his, in his first life and in his first year of life. And like I gave you guys that visualization before, I do that with this situation of like, when he turns 1, do I want to look back and think, oh my God, I wish I spent more time with him? No. So I'm going to make sure that I'm showing up, keeping that in mind. So I'm not having that regret, or just, maybe I will think, oh, I wish I spent even more time with him, but I'll know that I really was conscious about how I was showing up. And I wasn't just like, showing up from an unconscious space and just patterning, and I wasn't just like not thinking about it. I was really choosing and taking responsibility for how I was showing up. So a lot of us women will put a lot more emphasis on how like successful we can be in terms of career than other traits. And I wanted to mention this to you in regards to how this is affecting you in your relationship. If you are coming home still in that energy of achieve, 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 there is no space for him to lead. If you are dating and you are, I'm going to say this, don't take this to heart, but like obsessed with what you've achieved and your accolades, why does he need you? This isn't about dumbing yourself down. This isn't about you need to like play some like princess role. Show up high value. Show up as this amazing, powerful woman, but let him lead. He's not dating to, be in partnership with a woman that is in competition with him. That's not what a relationship is for. That's not what love is for. Your relationship is your place to drop that, to let it go, to surrender, to let go, to soften into him. And in my vows, actually, that I said to Hal, I kind of shared this. I said in my vows, a lot of women know me as this go-getting, independent, like I'm fine, I can manage myself woman. I've got it together because like I do, like I am fine. I can manage myself, blah, blah, blah. Like I can self-lead. I said, but it is so nice to be in a relationship where I don't have to, where I don't want to, where the really soft, vulnerable me, and I don't need to show up as this like hyper successful, constantly leading, constantly working. How many accolades can I get? That's not what a relationship and love is for, ladies. So go out and do that, but do it for yourself, not for your dad, not, to get validation. You're doing it for yourself because you actually want that. And then my challenge for you is, do you need to bring it to the first date or the second date? Or can you give yourself permission to feel the other part of you? This isn't about being fake. This is about actually giving yourself permission to feel the part of you that wants to really be seen, the vulnerable, the soft, the woman that just wants to be taken care of. If you want to be taken care of and led and protected by your man, then you can't be showing up all the time with this kind of like competitive, I don't need a man energy. We think that the more accolades we have, the more success in our career that we have achieved, we think that the better that we are. And that's not what a man is looking for. We as women are often looking for that in men. And you do need to listen to episodes where I've talked about being the breadwinner, because you got to kind of like work on that. Unfortunately, otherwise your dating pool is going to be very small these days. But men are not looking for that in women. They're also not looking for necessarily like, a baby machine or a housewife. Everyone's different. Maybe he is. And he might not be your man then, because you don't want to be a housewife. But maybe you do want to be a housewife. And so it's like, cha-ching, you're my man. One is not better than the other. But if you want to be in a relationship where he is leading, then are you able to let go of being in the lead? Are you able to let go of being Miss Hyperachieve, hyper success, so that you are gifted with the love that is able to transpire in your relationship, and so that he can provide that to you, because there needs to be space for him to lead. And when we feel like the more success we have in our career, the better we are, that comes from childhood. That comes from us feeling like the more that we've accomplished, the more that we are worth. We've associated our worth with accomplishments. And often, but not always, these women, which is who I used to be, they're in their hypermasculine and they're very defensive. They don't let the man speak. They cut him off. They are argumentative. They are often they lean towards conflict instead of being conflict avoidant. And I don't mean be conflict avoidant, that's not good either, but they're not afraid of conflict and kind of creating conflict sometimes because they're used to that. They're used to fixing a problem and fighting and going after what they want. And they're in this almost like fighter energy. They're in this martyr energy. And that's not what you want, or you wouldn't be listening to my podcast. And that's not what he wants either. We often, other thing to just tie in before we wrap up, we often think that more traditional feminine traits are weaker or less than. We have devalued the more feminine traits of softness, tenderness, vulnerability, empathy, looking after the children, doing the laundry, doing cooking. We think that they are weaker or less than. Now, before you go, oh, Monica, so you're basically being, a misogynist right now and you're saying women have to do that. No, I'm not saying that, because I've talked about in other episodes how when men are doing those things, when he's doing the laundry, when he's cooking, when he's looking after the children and you're working, you need to see the value in that so you don't get this resentment that can come with making money as a woman or being the breadwinner. So no matter who's doing these more traditional feminine tasks, you need to stop, internally feeling like they are weaker or less than working. Very, very important. But notice how that's showing up within you as well, where you're not then giving yourself permission to be, maybe you want to be a bit softer. Maybe you want to be able to cook a bit more. Maybe you do want to do his laundry and you're thinking that's going to make you a less powerful woman. No, it's not. Because you are your most powerful self. You are your most powerful woman when you are in alignment, when you are being the truest, most authentic version of you. When you are being a fake version of you, you are not exuding power. You are exuding people-pleasing energy. You are actually exuding weakness because you do not feel safe to be in your power. Because the woman that is the most authentic is the most powerful, right? And the last thing I want to wrap up with is motherhood doesn't make you less professional. Notice this. Would you feel like if a woman was on stage breastfeeding her child, would you be like, that's kind of weird? Or would you be triggered? Or would you be like, what? Why is she doing this? This is so unprofessional. That right there tells you that deep down, or maybe not so deep down, you're associating the most feminine thing a woman can do with less professional. Notice that. And I say that because I was aware of that before I became a mom. And so I have committed to myself to not do that. So at the immersion, if he needs to feed and he's at the event and we don't have a bottle, for example, and I'm like, yes, I'm available to feed him because I'm not leading like breath work or something, and I'm on stage talking to you guys, I'll be feeding him. If I was at an event, the panel that I was speaking at, I didn't actually feed him on the panel because he was so overstimulated and distracted, but I was at the event feeding him. And I would have been okay feeding him on the panel. Like, what a vibe. I want you to get to a place where you're like, what a vibe. Like, that's the woman that I want to be, if you want to be that, of feeding a baby whilst talking versus that's less professional. Because that right there shows that you are associating the very womanly thing that a woman can do with less professional. And think about how that then overflows into, of course, push, 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 work, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. The more that I'm doing that, the more that I am being like a man, the more worthy I am, the more successful I am, the better I am. That is the very cock block the majority of you are experiencing when it comes to dating. It doesn't mean be fake. It doesn't mean play dumb. It means that you need to play the game of dating, just like he's playing the game of dating. You don't want to know about all of his mummy issues. You don't want to hear that his, pet just died and he's so sad on the first date. You'd be like, ew, right? We're all showing up as our best selves on that first date. We're all not speaking like our whole fucking truth about what happened this week on the first date. So make sure that you're doing that with your words, but also with your energy. If you want a man that is courting you, leading you, and cherishing you. Last thing I'm going to say is if you're dating and you want that, you want a man that's courting you, leading you, and chasing you, you need to join my embodiment of dating masterclass. It is not fluff. It is not woo-woo. It is not like, oh, just be in the vibe. Be feminine, it's actually really tangible steps, and it's everything. Every tangible thing. You're gonna have like a table. I literally guide this like table thing that you're gonna have on your phone from dating. I guide you through all the things that I did when I was dating and that I did to date the man that then became my husband very shortly after.